Today, I am talking about my first visa experience at the US Embassy Ghana about 4 years ago. I'll be explaining it from the time when I got admission with scholarship through to the point where I picked up my passport. After I have applied for my program, I applied in like October and I got the admission. I think it was so much because it's Ghana's independence. I can't forget the day I got the admission, actually with the scholarship. I was very excited. That very night, I contacted a few friends who were schooling already in the USA and told them about the situation. So immediately we got talking and they told me about the process. So I had to apply for my I-20 for my university like everyone else does. When I received my I-20, I realized that the first page of my I-20 did not have the funding details. I actually wanted to still apply for the visa with it. That's why I always caution most of my friends that come to my DM or ask me about this I-20 that if you get admission with scholarship, please ensure that the university has put the scholarship information on the front page, because the I-20 is the first thing that oftentimes the consular requests for. It plays a very important role. Maybe you will not get a chance to now explain yourself that, oh, I have scholarship, this, so that let the I-20 speak for you if you have funding. So when it came and I found out that the funding information was not on it, that time we had to pay money for the delivery to Ghana. I think I used DHL. So I immediately sent an email to the school and informed them that they are missing my funding details. So I received my second I-20, but this time around it had the funding details attached. So immediately, I think this was in early April, my partner at the time, now he's my husband, he was in Kumasi, so I called him. He came to Accra because I was doing a part-time research job at the University of Ghana that time. He came to Accra, he helped me to fill out my forms and everything. We went to the mall together, we took the pictures, the required pictures. I was so tensed up, I didn't want to make any mistakes, you know. He said, calm down, it's nothing. I wish I had videoed that process. This was like 4 years ago. After we had filled out the forms, we chose a date. I filled out my forms by myself. I did not use any agent. At this juncture, I'll be very happy if you subscribe to my channel, if today is the first time you are watching this channel, and please don't forget to leave a like or a comment. Let's continue. And I think it's a straightforward process. Whenever I was having difficulties, I called my friends who were already in the US and had gone through the process, and they helped me to, you know, correct a few things here and there. So that was it. This was in April, and my interview date, I think it was in July. On the day of my US visa interview, this was a Monday. Before the interview, I had some braids on. This is on a Friday. So Saturday, I went to Medina to go and unbraid my hair just to look kept and then, you know, look very official for the interview. So on the Monday, I couldn't sleep. The whole of Sunday, I could not sleep. I was just really praying. I was afraid. I'm like, God, what if they deny me this visa? I couldn't sleep. I woke up around 5 a.m., took a taxi from University of Ghana to where the embassy is. I think my time was it 7:30? When I went, Charlie, long queue. People were really there. So I saw people sitting on plastic chairs. I learned that the plastic chairs we were supposed to pay me, I didn't have money at that time. So I just joined the queue, and you know, it was quite a long queue. And I think I saw two people I knew from tech. I said hello to them just to distress before the main interview take place. So I joined the queue. I think that before we end, it was 4 years ago, so I'm really trying to remember all the details and what happened. Hopefully I do. I'm sure I'll leave some of the details out. I think before you enter, there's this guy or a lady, anybody, they'll first of all checked our document to see if we had the right document. But even with that, while we're in the queue, you will see some unassigned people coming around saying, do you have this, do you have that, do you have this, do you have that? In as much as you shouldn't listen to them, sometimes you should though, because I remember that there were some people who did not have their passport picture at the time, but these people reminded them, these people who were just walking around, they don't work for the embassy, they don't know what they do, but they're always there actually, and they will tell you that, oh, you can quickly go to that shop, that photocopy area there, to just get a photocopy done. So when you go and they are talking, in as much as you should not give them attention, because some of them too can be thieves and they can be unscrupulous people, so just be careful. But please, when they are saying something, just you to be checking your documents to see if you have everything before you get to the consular's place, because imagine getting there and then finding out that, oh, I should have brought this thing. But I learned that sometimes before you get to the consular's end, the people who check the document can actually give you the opportunity to go and get something done quickly before you rejoin the queue. I haven't experienced that before. There's a hearsay. When you enter the US embassy for the interview, you know you don't have to take pictures. no phone should come closer. You'd have to go through security check. I forgot to add this part. Before I went for my interview, I think 2 weeks or a week before, I went for a session with Education USA. They have this like mini seminars where they will take you through the visa process, what you should bring, what you should do on the day, what you should expect, blah blah blah. Before you enter, they'll just take your name and details. And that day when I went for my own session, the visa session, they brought in a counselor, and the counselor that came said he had not been in Ghana for a long time. He had been in Ghana for like 3 weeks. This is in 2019, for just 3 weeks. And he found out that unlike the country, I've forgotten the country he mentioned, unlike the country where he was before moving to Ghana, he realized that we don't talk much. We Ghanaians students, when we are answering the questions, we just answer briefly without giving much explanations, and it makes it a bit difficult. So he gave us some of the areas that personally he looked out for in students. We also got an opportunity to speak to some of the people who work at Education USA. We had some of our questions answered. Some people said they had gone through the process 2 times before and they had failed and were seeking clarification. So that session was also very helpful to me personally in my preparation. On the day of the interview, after you join the queue, before you enter the main building for the interview, so the security guy, they'll just check you. Those security checks, after the receptionist will check your documents, your passports, all of that, you join the queue. So when you join the queue, then you see it's like a bank. So like how tellers sit at the bank, that's how the consulars have been placed, that sort of setup. So you join the queue. The first part, I think they are administrators. I don't know their role. I'm just guessing they are administrators. So these people, they will check your service fee receipt, your GT bank, all of that. After them, you know that you are going to face the consulates. People of God, I was afraid. I was so scared. The queue just kept moving. And when I got to my turn, they were just denying people. So I was afraid. I wanted to go to the washroom. And I found out that the counselor that came for the visa session, that's why I'm saying it's important that you attend these visa sessions. The counselor that came for the visa session was that same counselor that was about to interview me. So it made me relax a bit, honestly, because I felt like, oh, I've met this guy about just a few weeks ago. It could not be your case, though. This was just my case, and this was how God ordained my case. So I'm taking for me. Immediately got to my turn to be interviewed. God. This man now got a visitor, like his friend or somebody from that side came to him. I didn't want to go to the other person. I just wanted to be interviewed by this man. So I thought because his friend had come, he would just say, oh, move or something. He just said, oh, you know what, just wait for me. But his friend was just still standing there. So he got a bit confused. When he got to my turn, he just said, okay, give me I-20. I just gave it to him. Then I was afraid. I was afraid. Honestly speaking, I was shaking within. Just took my I-20, checked my I-20. He stood there for a while and then asked me, have I completed my national service? That's what he asked. So I told him that yes, I have. I completed my national service at KNUST as a teaching and research assistant. That's what I told him. So after I told him that, he said, oh, okay. And I see here that currently you're at the University of Ghana as a research assistant at the School of Languages. At the time, I was doing this research stuff with that department. And I said, yes, I'm there. You know, so I think that I don't know anything. But I'm just thinking that maybe there was a correlation, TATA. So he now went ahead to ask me, so how come I got that role as a grad assistant? And I told him, oh, it's because I'm an excellent student and I had a first class and I also have experience in teaching and researching, so the department found me qualified to take up that role. And he also asked me again that what will I be doing for them for the money, and I told him that I'll be grading papers, conducting research and all of that. So he asked me, so who's sponsoring you? And I told him it was my aunt. Yeah, really, it was my auntie that was sponsoring me. He asked me, why is your aunt sponsoring you and not your mother? And I told him my aunt has been taking care of me right from childhood, so I'm like one of her favorite nieces, and she just wants to give me additional funds to study abroad. The counselor then asked me, what does my auntie do? So I told the counselor that my auntie owns one of the largest wholesale co-stores in Ghana and beyond. Then he said, what type of co-store does she run? God! I said, my auntie sells fish, chicken, octopus, and all of that right at the embassy. While talking about what my auntie does, I think it's important for me to chip this in here, that no matter who is giving you the bank statement to support, I'm definitely sure that person could be a relative, but make sure you know what the person does. You know, when he asked me of what my auntie does, and I was just standing there like, oh, Costo, you know, it would have looked like a lie. So please be sure that the bearer of the documents you are holding, you know the details of what the person does, if it's a construction site, anything. And all this while he was typing, he just stood there for a while and said, your visa has been approved. I didn't stand there. No, he didn't say your visa has been approved. He said, okay, pick your passport, blah blah blah, from DHL. And when they say that to you, you know that at that point, like literally you are gone. It has been approved. I didn't stand there. I didn't even look back for him to change his mind and say, oh no, come back. When he said that, I just vamoosed. I moved from that premises, and people of God, I was so happy. Came home, called my parents, called my partner, my friend, everyone that cared to know about it. I just told them that by God's grace, my visa had gone through. I think a few days later, I went to the DHL office. You know, when you're filling the form, I don't know if they've stopped, they give you a particular place where you can pick up the passport. The DHL office, I picked up a taxi. I think they'll give you a slip or something. So that's what you sent to the DHL office. I picked up my passport. I checked, it was stamped. I was so happy. That was my visa experience at US Ghana Embassy. I've gone there twice. This was the first one for my student visa. Maybe in another video, I'll talk about my second my second one. Thank you very much for watching today's video. And like I said, in this month of June, we'll be talking about visas for students who are applying for the F1 visa to study in the USA. Thank you. And please don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe.